All right, all right. It's another day, another Sunday, 2 p.m. Time for KWBE, Kicking It with Brother Ed. I'm your host, Ed Steve. So happy y'all could join us, man. We got a treat in store for you today. We call it Women of Distinction because it's the end of the month. Time flies when you're having fun, as they say. But I came to tell you that even though it's the end of this month, which is Women's History Month, today we have two fabulous guests. And as we oftentimes do, these are two ladies who are right here in our own midst. So we're going to bring them on very shortly. Soon as I get this background going well, then there we go. Okay, now we're good. Again, I'm Ed Steed. I'm your host, KWBE, Kicking It with Brother Ed. Man, we're going to have a good time today. We only got a half an hour. So without further ado, we are going to get started. So my first guest is Edwina Sessions, and she has quite a background. And she was an educator for many, many years. She's now the president of a local NAACP branch, the Greater Delaware Valley. I knew I would get it if I thought long enough. The Greater Delaware Valley branch of the NAACP. She's doing some fabulous things there. That's out in Burlington County. She volunteers her services in many areas, and she's going to tell you about herself. So without further ado, I want to bring up Edwina Sessions, and I want you all to give her a round of applause. All right, all right. All right, Edwina, welcome to KWBE. How you doing?
Thank you, and good afternoon.
Okay, the kids were a little late on the draw, but they try to get involved in this thing too. Good afternoon to you. So let's go into it right away, man. Tell us about yourself. We're very excited that you decided to come on our show today.
Okay, well, I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. Well, my life began in New York.
Really?
I was born in Harlem, New York, and I spent the first 6 years of my life in Harlem. I attended half-day kindergarten at PS 46.
Wow.
At that time, my parents divorced, and I moved to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania with my mother and brother. And it was there in Philadelphia where I grew up and attended school through high school graduation. It was my first grade teacher that I admired so much that led me to become a professional teacher.
What happened there that made you feel the inspiration?
That inspiration came from a destination that I had, as I said, as a young child, wanting to be a teacher. That's all I wanted to be, was a teacher. Never wavered. And that was my dream.
So let me ask you something. Was the inspiration overt? Like, did she say something to you, or just by you watching her, you say, like, I want to do that?
Watching her. She was just a little dainty of a lady, and she was just so committed to what she was doing and just so admirable and just loved her children.
Wow.
And I think that's what grabbed my interest.
That is awesome. So you spent what was it? Did I get that right? Was it 35 years?
Yes, I taught for 37 years.
37 years.
37 years.
Wow.
Would have been 40, but they had an early buyout of 3 years.
So you had to take that. Well, I know you enjoyed it because I've spoken to you in the past.
Yes.
We actually met last summer, I think it was at an NAACP event. So I know you really enjoyed that. But tell us what was so enjoyable about that profession, and what have you been doing since?
Okay. So knowing that I wanted to be a teacher, I decided to go to the oldest HBCU in the nation, Cheney University. That was
Wow.
the other part of my dream. And upon completing Cheney University with a Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education, I decided that I wanted to work with special education children. So that led me to New Jersey. And I started teaching in Camden, New Jersey in
Wow.
1967.
Now, how was Camden then? Was it like it is now? It has the perception of being a really bad place. How was it at that time in '67?
I enjoyed it, Camden, in the 60s. I really did. I enjoyed working there. It was a very, very comprehensive environment. But I was, like I said, I was committed to teaching, and this is what I did. And Camden, New Jersey gave me my start. I always think of them as giving me my start.
Excellent. Did
And
you
I'll
stay there
never,
throughout?
no, I did not. I transferred 20 years later, stayed in Camden for 20 years, and transferred to Hamilton Township, Mercer County. By this time, I'm working on the child study team, and I became the chairperson of the child study team in Hamilton Township, New Jersey. And I continued for another 17 years there
Mm,
before retiring.
wow. And then
Yeah.
what happened after that?
Okay,
After you retired?
after I retired, I always wanted to do volunteer work. So I took my platform, all the things that I wanted to do to improve the community, and I began working with the NAACP at that time. And then I joined another organization called the American Association of University Women. Their goal is to empower women and girls to help them pursue higher education. So that just was hit me on that spot right there. So I said, well, this is the organization for me. What led me to the NAACP was working for civil rights and people who are marginalized and trying to build better communities. So they're the main two organizations that I'm working with now. In the past, I've worked with the volunteer teachers teaching adults how to read. And I did that in Burlington County for 10 years. And I was on their board of trustees, teaching adults how to read. That
That's
was
very
very
important.
gratifying. That
You
was
know, my father unfortunately passed away at the age of 91, but he never really learned how to read. He had a third grade education. It's incredibly important. It's something we take for granted. But if you can't read, you don't have much that you can do,
exactly. I
except
had
depend on
students
others.
in their 60s and 70s that I was teaching how to read. And I started off with reading labels when they go to the supermarket, how to read labels on cans so that they could shop.
That's
One
awesome
lady, she
stuff.
was in her 80s, she wanted to read stories to her great grandchildren. And I taught her how to read.
That
So
is
that
awesome.
was very gratifying. So I love my volunteer work. I love it.
I hear it. And let me say this before we change gears a little bit. I bet you influence more than a few, just like that teacher in the first grade influenced you. I bet you influence more than a few to enter this profession because they're just watching you.
I certainly hope so.
I can tell you without a doubt. I don't know any of your students, I don't think, but I can tell you without a doubt that you did. But tell us about the your two organizations, and I'd like to begin with the American Association of University Women.
Okay. Their mission is to empower women and girls. For their girls, they have science, they have STEM programs, and they have a camp for middle-aged girls.
Is
And
that right?
that really, really caught my attention. And I started working in that program, I would say 5 years ago, before COVID, and it's still going on.
So I see that there's a ticker tape message going across that says if you have a college degree, you should consider signing up. Is that for men and women? Well, you tell us who's it for, and what can one expect to do?
It's mostly women, but men are certainly welcome to join this organization. They're certainly
Excellent,
encouraged to join.
Excellent. And I see you have is there a phone number there or something? A
That
website.
is
There's a
that is the
website.
website, aauwnj.org.
Yeah, there it is. AAUWNJ. Excellent.
Go to that
Excellent.
website and get all the information that you need.
Well, I, for one, am going to check that out. Now, tell us about your work at the NAACP, because I know you're a branch president, and I
Okay,
hear
so
about you.
yes, I started out with the Greater Delaware Valley on the Education Committee.
Yes.
I went to second vice president, and in 2017, I was elected president until to date, till this date. We are now working on forming our standing committees. We just had an executive committee meeting this month, and we're trying to get people to sign up to participate on standing committees because that's what drives the branch. The different
Absolutely.
committees: education, political action, freedom fundraising, community organization, veterans administration. Those are the committees that drive the branch. Once you
So,
get people to work on those committees, then you've got something going on.
have you had any problems with recruiting folks?
Membership is a real big standing committee commitment, and we're always recruiting. We have membership drives, and we usually do it along with our voter registration drives. We have
Excellent.
jurisdictions. We have 13 towns in Burlington County that we're responsible for.
13 towns?
13 towns.
That's a lot of towns. That's a lot of territory, huh?
Yes, it is.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to put the number up here in case someone's interested, and I certainly hope some of you are, because NAACP is still a viable organization doing important work. And all three of us, myself, you, and our other guests, Councilwoman Ship Freeman, are all members of the NAACP.
Awesome.
So
Awesome. Yes.
I put the number up there. Now, I want to change gears just a tad for a moment.
Yes.
We don't have much time. We got to bring Councilman Freeman up.
Absolutely.
What are some of the things, because you have a very inspiring story, but what are some of the things you went through that could have discouraged you? Because all of us go through discouraging times, and that's one thing we try to do is to address those kinds of things.
That is so true. I really, really count all of my inspirations as being, if it was for me, it was for me. If it wasn't, it wasn't. It's when sometimes when something doesn't work out for you, it really worked out for you. And,
Excellent.
and you take it to another level. So I wanted to enter the political arena in 2010, and I ran for Pemberton Township Councilwoman. And I was edged out by an incumbent by a mere 34 votes, if you can
Wow.
believe that. But you know what? I didn't get discouraged because I took that platform and took it to my other organizations. And I'm working my platform in the other organizations that I'm volunteering for. So when one thing doesn't work out, you have to just keep stepping.
That's great advice. And you know, I wrote an article for one of the organizations I'm with the last year, and the title of it was, and the title says it all: failure does not fail.
Mm,
We use it
mm,
as a stepping stone, right? Like you
yes,
did.
yes.
And I want to read you a comment that one of your people wrote.
Okay.
It says, President Sessions is doing an excellent job serving our community. So
Okay.
that's good.
Hey,
Yes.
thank you for
Yes.
sharing that.
Excellent. It's my pleasure. Thank you for doing what you're doing. We encourage you to keep it up. We want everybody out there to know, if you call 609-893-3313, you can get in touch with the Greater Delaware Valley branch of the NAACP, and you can talk to President Sessions,
The
right?
phone rings in my home. The phone rings in my home.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
You will definitely get me. Okay.
That,
I just want one lasting thing to say.
yes. Yes,
Never
please.
stop learning. Always be willing to learn. There's always something new to learn.
That is excellent. We thank you for that. Don't go anywhere. We're going to bring you back up.
Okay.
But we're going to change gears. Thank you for coming and sharing with us. Your story is very inspirational. This, y'all, is her story, not his story. It's her story. All
My,
right.
my
So we're going
pleasure.
to bring up our next guest right now as President Sessions stays in the waiting room with us. Our next guest is very, very, very impressive. Her name, as I said earlier, is Joyce Ship Freeman. She is the first African American to be elected to the city council in Edison, New Jersey. The first. She's been holding that position for a very, very long time. We're so happy to bring her. Let's give a round of applause for Joyce Ship Freeman, a councilwoman from Edison, New Jersey. Amen. God bless you, Councilman Freeman. Okay. Applause, applause,
Thank you.
clap, clap, clap.
Thank
We're
you.
so happy to. I told President Sessions the kids got to get their thing in too. So we're very happy that you honor us with your presence today. We are so happy to hear from you. And without further ado, I just want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you came from, what you're doing now, and so on and so forth. So take it away.
Well, I came from a couple of places. I was born and I lived in Linden, New Jersey, a greater part of my life until I was ready for middle school after my parents divorced. Then we came over to Edison, New Jersey, better known as Potter's Crossing. All the north side of Edison was known as Potter's Crossing.
Can I cut you
So,
off real quick?
yes.
Why is that? I keep hearing about Potter's Crossing. Can you just give us a little history on that before you continue? What is Potter's
Well,
Crossing?
Potter's Crossing actually was the whole north side of Edison. And it was Black folks striving for better, moving up from the South. My grandmother, grandfather, and our family, they moved away from the lynchings. You got to remember, they came up in 1929. So the South was very volatile. So they came there, and most of them, they built homes and they all moved. And it was a very, very inclusive community. They had their own stores, their own hotels, they had their own ice cream parlors. It was just like a very thriving community, not at the size of Wall Street, but it was still big enough for the area of Edison for it to be a very viable community.
That's
And
awesome. Thanks for
yeah,
sharing.
and people have reduced it. People have reduced it, and they call a group of apartments this 90 units. They said that's Potter's Crossing, but that's not Potter's Crossing
It's bigger than
at
that.
all. My mother was born in 1931. She gave me all the information of what Potter's Crossing was and still was. But I will tell you, during the 60s, urban renewal meant Black removal. So anytime, every place, I think up and down the corridors of New Jersey, they were taking land from Black folks and just redlining them. So that's an issue that we're still going on with today. So
Wow.
that saddens me. But to start off with different things going along, I remember my grandmother taking me over to Plainfield, New Jersey, and we were walking around with signs and everything, protesting some store back far as when I was 8 years old, trying to get equality. Because you have to remember, I'm from the 60s. So therefore, I had every fight, everything was there in front of me. There was the desegregation of the schools. All these things were going on, civil rights, you name it. All these things that were signed upon in the 60s are part of my life. So when people tell me about the book, I'm like, you don't have to tell me about the book. I was there. So whatever information is presented to you is not necessary completely. It's somebody else's side of the story. Because as we all know, the lion never gets to tell the story, the hunter does.
You
So
got
you
that
have,
right.
yes, you have to pay closer attention the information that people give you.
Yes.
All right. And
yes.
everybody sees things through different eyes, through different things. So moving along a little bit, that's what get me very, very interested. So very, very interested. And as my brother would tease me, he said that we were the ones who started all the stuff in the schools. Because as I went to school also, I had to fight for women just to wear pants to school. All right. So so it was a continuous struggle inside the school, outside the school, and things that people think are very minor today were very big at that particular time.
Sure.
So the person that I am, and my mother used to holler at me for this sometimes, I have this thing called integrity about me.
Okay.
And I don't choose sides, I choose what's right. So therefore, when you choose things that's right, you're going to have consequences because both sides will come at you. Because a lot of people, yes, a lot of people have their program set. And if you do not become their rubber stamp, automatically we have no use for you, because we are the people at this level, at the higher level. Those are the people who make the deals that make the underdogs suffer. We suffer the consequences of what the people do at the higher level. People at higher levels, they have the best health care, they have the best pensions, and the rest of us at this level fight each other over what everybody else has already, and we're losing it. We're losing.
Let me ask you a question, please, Councilwoman. Yes. First, how did you develop this mindset, number one? And number two, how did that lead you into politics?
Well, I developed my mindset because I kept seeing the masses. I noticed the people around me, and I noticed they kept getting less, and other people kept getting more, and nobody was saying anything about it. Everybody was just going along. And I have this very, very feisty spirit, and I can't take it when somebody over here doesn't have bread and I have bread. But yet I'm going to yell and scream at them because they don't have the same bread I have, instead of helping them along to let them understand what it means and how they can get this bread that I am eating. From that, even in college and pledging a sorority, and actually within my school, once I got involved with the union, I got involved in it. And then I noticed that not too much stuff was going on for minority people, even though we were in a union. So I moved myself along and had myself appointed as the chair for Middlesex County for minority and minority leadership and recruitment. So that's what I do. I try to move myself in areas that we lack, that there's nobody that looks like me. So I have to go to those areas, but I have to suffer twice because I'm a woman, and also I happen to be Black. And a lot of times, even within my town and how I became councilwoman, because I sat on the library boards, I had the North Edison Civic Association. The Civic Association, I would go and I would complain. Where are the Black teachers? Where are the Black cops? Where are the Black firemen? Where are the people that look like me? Because I knew it was important for the people that were younger than me to see this stuff in order for them to grow. Because sometimes if you don't see it, you can't believe it. So I knew all this stuff was important because I've been in education for over 40 years.
I was going to ask you about that too. Yes.
Yes, I've been in education for over 40 years. So when I got to the schools, whether people know it or not, don't that many people look like me that's teaching children at the school. All right. I have issues with that. I have issues with people who don't come to Board of Ed meetings. They let the negative people come into the Board of Ed meetings and control the schools.
Yep.
All right.
I've seen it.
Yes. And they allow that to happen. They sit back and they're complacent. And like the person who spoke before me, education, that is it. The more educated you become, the more you know. that you see things are not the way they're supposed to be. But, and I tell people that's the reason they took civics out of school. Civics was mandated when I was going to school. But in order for me to dumb down the population, I must get rid of civics, because if these kids learn their rights, then guess what? Then I no longer have power over them.
Right.
So that's one thing that saddens me about the school. But me, I get in when I'm involved in a organization. I want to find out what's what, and I want to find out what I can do to help the youth move on for the future, and how they can grow and how good things come about for them.
Now, yeah, you've been in politics for a while. I know you served as president of the city council, vice president.
Yes.
You've been around for a while. I know you're going. It's an uphill battle sometimes. What prepared you for that?
Yeah, it seems like I've been around for a while, but this is my 4th year. And normally in the town that I serve in Edison, most of the time after a woman does 4 years, they usually kick her off. They never stay with a woman. A majority of women, you're lucky if you do your 4 years.
So why are you doing more than 4?
Excuse me?
Why are you doing it in excess of that? What's different?
No, I'm not doing it in excess of it. This may be, if I don't run a campaign as an independent, then I will not show back up again in 2024.
So
that's how we do it in Edison.
What do you think? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to go down?
I don't know. I'm thinking seriously of running as an independent, because I know the all male club is not really that much into women. There, a lot of times people are more interested in their personal gain, and women are more involved into details, what happens in the community, we're at service projects and information like that. So that doesn't sit well with most people, because most people, they're in it for self-gain.
Of course.
And so
now
that happens. Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, we only have like a minute left. I want you to speak something about, because this is important. You taught me some things on this issue, the Amistad curriculum.
Yes. What saddens me is that the Amistad curriculum was mandated 20 years ago, because during McGreevy's time, he mandated the Holocaust curriculum. He mandated the Amistad curriculum at that particular time. Which saddens me is that we might have 1 or 2 school districts promoting the Amistad curriculum. The Amistad curriculum is very, very important for this whole country, because people have to know my struggles and in the direction that I'm going in. All these new kids and all these new people, they just think like, they're not hard workers. They don't move this way. Unless they get the information of the Amistad, they will be less educated than other people. They
so
don't
let me ask you this.
it. Yes.
Because we only got like 30 seconds left.
Yes.
What is the Amistad curriculum like? What people could today call critical race theory?
No, it has nothing to do with critical race theory. Okay. Critical race theory has been taught no place but colleges. And this whole game, that's culture game that we play, hurts everybody, because it reminds me of the book by McGee, and it's the Sum of Us. And it shows you how racism hurts every single one of us, not just Black people.
Absolutely.
It hurts all of America. And until they do the things they're supposed to do by teaching the Amistad curriculum and making our children more intelligent at all, what we will have is a bunch of kids with a bunch of empty degrees. Because if you don't know the information, how it started, where in direction you're going in, you're not going anywhere.
Amen to that. Listen, you guys both have given us so much information. We want to bring you back. And I think, wow, look at that. Okay, we're out of time. Don't go anywhere, Councilwoman. I'm going to bring you back real quick in a moment. Don't go anywhere. All right, family. Thank God we had people like these two beautiful women who are doing beautiful things in our community. And I don't want you to forget it. Let's honor them, be in touch with them. Fight for the Amistad curriculum in your jurisdiction, wherever it is that you live. She asked me, did I have it in my town? And I had to say, I don't think so. But I want you to know there's a lot of things happening with KWBE still. We want you to come back. We want you to join me next Sunday. I'll be bringing the word at Grace Baptist Church. The information is there. Just put something in the comment box if you want to see it. I got a black cowboy coming on next month. You might remember him, Jesse Hall. That's him when he was a young man. He's now 80 years old. He works out. He's phenomenal. He's got a story to tell. He's even featured in this book. The foreword in this book is written by Danny Glover. And we got 3 books that Jesse himself is gonna autograph his photograph. It's the one you saw earlier, this photo. He's gonna autograph it just for you if you're one of our winners. So like, subscribe, and come back to see KWBE. I want you to thank these ladies for coming up. They have been wonderful, and we're going to see them again. God bless you, ladies. Give us a wave of some quick parting words, whatever the case may be.
Go ahead.
I would just like to say, piggyback on what Councilwoman said, if parents could get involved in Board of Education meetings, maybe we can get this Amistad going. Parents need to get involved.
Excellent.
Yeah, and piggybacking off of that, that's the highest tax you pay in your neighborhood. So if you're paying taxes, you should be there before you come anyplace else. And also, last but not least, you must come to your council meetings. You must support the people who are fighting hard for you. You can't sit home anymore. Come on out. Thank you.
Excellent. And we want y'all to come back. And Councilwoman, you got a comment too. Well done, Councilwoman. One of your supporters obviously said. God bless you, ladies. God bless you, audience. This is Ed Steve, KWBE. I'm signing off, but I'll see you next time. God bless you.
Thank you.